Hi! Do you like reading? Oh, of course you don't. You're watching this. But because I like it, I'm gonna read to you. Now, this is a Minecraft book. I got it for Christmas a while ago. I never read it, but I haven't. I figured may as well put it to good use. So, I hope you enjoy my horrendous voice, because you're gonna get quite a bit of it. This is a 105-page book. This will be fun. Anyway. An Unofficial Gamer's Adventure, Book 1. Yes, I have 6. The Quest for the Diamond Sword by Winter Morgan. Anyway. Now, before you get any ideas, I do like Minecraft. It is a fun game, but I used to be obsessed with it, and not anymore, but I still enjoy the game. It's fun. I do, and it's kind of become a meme. Which on the one hand, it's nice that it's getting some attention, but on the other hand, I think most people don't actually like it unironically. And ages 7 to 12. Like most of the fan base. Yeah, the fan base is horrible. Anyway, Chapter 1, Life on the Farm. Don't treat this as an audiobook. Just do not treat this as an audiobook. Don't, download this video, cut out me talking, having discussions with you, provided someone's actually watching this, which only, on average, 20. Anyway, don't treat this as an audiobook. Don't treat... I feel like a broken record. Anyway, Chapter 1, Life on the Farm. Steve wasn't a risk taker. He lived a simple life on a flourishing wheat farm when he grew carrots, potatoes, pumpkins, and bred pigs. Afternoons are spent talking to Elliot the blacksmith or Avery the librarian, who lived in a nearby village. In the village, he traded wheat and coal for emeralds. Yeah, so in the game, emeralds are super rare unless you give a bunch of stuff to villagers and things, and they don't do anything other than currency. Blah 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 blah. He used the emeralds to adorn the walls of his home. Oh yeah, they are rainbow blocks. Never mind. Yet that morning, he decided to head to town and exchange some of his extra emeralds for iron. You'd give the most valuable gem in the game for iron, which is so common you can easily just go digging around and find some ores. No, not. Steve wanted to craft iron armor. Although he never planned on using it, he was cautious and knew it was important to have armor. He also liked crafting things. Elliot was in the shop when Steve arrived and said, "Hi, Steve. Looking for my emeralds?" "No." Steve took out the emeralds. "I have too many. I'd like to share them for my ingots." Or is it ingots? I never knew. "What are you going to do with iron?" Elliot asked. As he gave Steve the blocks. "Build another golem? You were so nice to build that for a village." "Thanks, but I want to craft armor," replied Steve. "Are you going on an adventure?" Elliot couldn't believe his ears. Steve was the last person he expected to want armor to go on. "I hope not," Steve said. "I thought it would be just good to have in my inventory." "Enjoy crafting, Steve." Elliot gave him the iron ingots. On the way home, Steve ran into Avery the librarian, who said, "You should come by the library, Steve. We'd have lots of new books." "I can't today," he told her. "I'm crafting armor." "How exciting!" exclaimed Avery. "Are you planning an adventure?" "You know me," Steve remarked. "I'd like to stay out of trouble and stick close to home. Some people don't plan adventures, they just happen." Avery had read every adventure tale in the library. She loved those stories. "That's true," Steve smiled at Avery, "but I'd rather just keep the armor in my inventory and read about adventure in books." He's gonna go on an adventure, I just know it. The foreshadowing is so thick you could cut it with a knife. Oh wait, that's tension, sorry. Steve crafted his iron armor. He tried it on and walked around his house. That must look like a warrior, he said to himself. He put the armor away and took a short walk before dusk. Steve would never venture out at night. He knew that's when creepers could attack him. His farm wasn't far from the water, and he walked over and looked at the enormous blue ocean and wondered what lands might be on the other side. He had never hopped on a boat to find out. If Steve had an adventure story to tell, it would be about the time he once tamed an ocelot. Lost in Nevada's unexplored jungle, surrounded by bushes deep in the jungle biome, Steve followed an antelope racing past into an overgrown patch of grass and weeds. As the animal paced slowly, he could make out his yellow fur covered in black and brownish spots. It was a wild ocelot. The ocelot's piercing green eyes stared menacingly, and Steve's heart skipped a beat. He wanted to tame this wild beast. He offered a feline raw fish, which the hungry ocelot eagerly accepted. This is a children's book. With each bite, the ocelot transformed into a tame animal. Yeah, that's something I want to talk about. Why do they change their breed when you tame them? That doesn't make sense. Like, they only start off as, well, ocelots, but then they turn into a tabby, an American shorttail, and the other one. I never understood that. Why do they change their breed, like their fur color? Okay. Oh. Slowly the cat's skin took on a ginger tone. It's fur. Until it resembled a typical tabby cat. Oh. The ocelot's tail shrunk, signaling finding it was no longer feral. Steve made the ocelot snuggles. He'd be the first to admit he felt safer on the farm with snuggles. As everyone knows, ocelots scare off creepers. Steve was afraid of creepers. I'm sorry, if you actually like this book, I apologize for me cringing, but I can't help it. Steve knew that if you were careful, you could avoid running into any creepers, skeletons, spiders, silverfish, zombies, and other hostile monsters whose sole purpose was to attack. In fact, Steve had helped secure the village from a zombie threat. He built a fence all around the village and placed torches along the main street so all the land inside the wall was brightly lit, day and night. This way he could be sure that zombies wouldn't spawn in his village. As Elliot the blacksmith mentioned, Steve had also built an iron golem to protect them. He placed iron blocks and a pumpkin on the ground and watched as the tough, mighty beast got to its feet. As Steve watched the monstrous stone creature, iron is not stone, lumber towards the village, he was sure he was able to keep him and his villager friends safe from zombies and other mobs. This is an endurance test for me. When he wasn't protecting his home from predators, Steve spent his time making coal out of wood. He traded the coal with Elliot the blacksmith for pickaxes, which he used for mining. He also traded his wheat for cookies from John the village farmer. Oof. When he mined for gold, he usually traded for books of Avery the librarian. Between the villagers and the farm, he had all his needs provided for and a safe place to sleep every night. He loved coming back to the farm and hearing Snuggles meow as the ocelot relaxed in the greenery. It's a cat now. At night, when night began to fall, Steve immediately got into his wool bed. Night time was the most vulnerable time as the sun sank in the sky. The shadows... The shadows grew and the walled areas became darker until Steve's village was the only place bright enough that the mobs wouldn't spawn there. But outside the walls, you could always hear the zombies groaning and the strange skittering sound of spiders. If you weren't in your bed when nightfall, you're pretty much an open target. But a well-built bed would keep you safe until daybreak. When dusk approached, Steve was always safely in his bed at the farm. Once Steve saw a tall, dark enemy with purple when he was out the door. Once Steve saw a tall, dark Enderman with a purple aura when he was out at dusk, but he knew not to stare. He safely made his escape and learned his lesson. When the lights began to dim, it was time to go home. There was no reason to take chances. 10 minutes. I'll finish this chapter. It's only like there's only 2 more pages. But that night, as Steve slept in the comfort of his bed, he heard strange noises coming from the village. The villagers were in trouble, and as Steve listened to the groans and sound of wood breaking, he knew it could only be one thing. A zombie attack! He tried to convince himself that he was just hearing things, and they were fine, but the noises wouldn't stop. He imagined going into the town and seeing the villagers turn into zombies, and glad to see how much time he had before morning. It was still so early. Steve clutched his clock tightly, wondering if he could wait till morning, but he felt the clock ticking in his hand and heard the villagers' cries. Steve knew he had to help right away. And since Elliot knew that Steve had the armor, he probably waited helplessly for Steve to attack the zombies. The other villagers were also Steve's good friends. He liked the villagers better than the other explorers like him, because they couldn't be griefers and couldn't harm him. This is a multiplayer server? Alright. They had jobs and lived and worked together in the village, growing their crops and making useful things to trade. They followed predictable routines and never strayed far from home, but they helped one another and never caused any havoc in his life. Griefers were wanderers who spent their time playing pranks on other explorers and generally making trouble. They intentionally did bad things to other people to steal more stuff for themselves. There were some griefers who just picked on foes because they thought it was fun and they liked tricking people. They used TNT to destroy. They'd use Turner Network Television to destroy a house or lie and say they needed help and then attack. Steven didn't want to lose his house or stuff to any grievers, so he was careful not to trust anyone but his village friends. And now the zombies were attacking them. Steve had to help. He tried to convince himself that the Iron Golem could handle the zombies, but the desperate cries from the villager meant the golem wasn't powerful enough to defeat the zombies on its own. Or even worse, something had happened to the strong creature. Steve thought of Avery and the books he had gotten from her. He could imagine Zombie overpowering her as she raced through the streets in the flowing white robe. Okay. He wondered if the zombies were destroying John and the farmer's crop. He imagined Elliot trying to hide in his black street shop from the vicious monster. As the cries grew louder and the image of his friend being attacked by zombies swirled around in his panicked mind. Steve knew he had to help him. If he didn't do something heroic soon, he would be a no-good coward who let the village get destroyed. Although it defied all of his instinct to avoid damage, Steve threw off his covers and got out of it. He checked the room for spiders and creepers and went to his chest to get ready. But the first time he stood it up in all the armor he wore before. Which he loved having but never thought he'd use. Luckily, Steve had well-stocked news for this, since he never vowed he just collected armor. Of swords and other tools to protect himself. He took out his compass, iron sword, bow and arrows from his inventory, and paused and grabbed a special gold sword just in case he needed it. His hands shook, his heart raced, he was scared. As a moment Steve has always feared, now he was living it. And that's all I'm going to read to you because I don't want to do this anymore. Goodbye! I said goodbye!